Rise, man.
The Force will be with you.
Always.
Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Star Wars Meg, and I'm here as always to provide you with all of the news from a galaxy far, far away, and to provide you with a Mandalorian Season 2 update. Today we have some really big news, including a potential cameo for Chapter 10, which drops in just 2 days' time. I could not be more hyped, and I'm sure you guys are feeling exactly the same way as well. But before I get into it, please may I ask you to hit like down below, to subscribe to my channel if you're brand new, and also make sure you hit the notification bell to be alerted each and every time I post a new Star Wars video. So without too much jibber jabber, as I tell you every day, let's get into the news. So we are going to start with an interesting article from Darksaber of the Force, and this one concerns Moff Gideon. So the title states, "Why wasn't Moff Gideon in the Mandalorian Season 2 premiere?" So they write, "Unfortunately, in the Mandalorian Season 2 Episode 1, Moff Gideon was nowhere to be found. Admittedly, in the midst of the excitement for the Mandalorian premiering, this omission was barely on my mind while watching the show. But looking back, I can't believe I'd forgotten about one of the show's most important characters, and I can't believe that the show decided to leave him out of the premiere narrative as well." So before I carry on, I will say as a huge disclaimer, I strongly disagree with the next paragraph or two in Mia Johnson's article. She's the writer of this, and it seems that she was strongly disappointed by the fact we didn't get Moff Gideon in Chapter 9, and you're going to see why I disagree with her in a minute. So I'm going to quote what she says next. She writes, "Without the inclusion of Moff Gideon, we're missing out on a lot that could have been introduced in this first episode. Already we've wasted 1 out of a small 8 episodes in this season. As for fans, it's been nearly a year since we've seen this character, so of course we'd be longing to know what he's been up to. We've got plenty about our hero, but nothing about our villain. By those measures, then, they missed the opportunity to set up the conflict of this season, making it seem like Mando's quest to return Baby Yoda home is going to be a piece of cake." Now, I'm just going to say off the bat, she clearly does not understand The Mandalorian by any stretch. At least from what I'm reading in this article, I have no problem with this person and I don't even know them. And she doesn't seem to understand Filoni and Favreau's style of writing. They did not include Moff Gideon in Chapter 9. It's because it's not his time yet. It's the same with Cara Dune and Greef Karga. They're introducing different heroes and different villains. Every episode, Game of Thrones style, is going to have its own plot. We're going to be taken to different planets, like for example in Chapter 10, we're going to be at the water planet, which many people think is Mon Cala. Then we're probably going to go to the Ilum planet, well, at least the planet most people think is Ilum, the ice planet. I think she's being extremely irrational when she states that they've wasted 1 of the 8 episodes. Not at all. Now, everyone's entitled to their opinion, and if she didn't like Chapter 9, that's absolutely fine. That's absolutely fine if you didn't like it. But in my mind, it set up the season perfectly, and that's what she's criticizing. She's saying that just because we didn't get Moff Gideon in Chapter 9, the season's a mess. Not necessarily true. Perhaps the fact that they introduced Boba Fett at the end of Chapter 9 might lead to Moff Gideon being reintroduced later down the line. We have 8 episodes, and they're all going to be a lot longer than last season's. I think as a fandom we just have to be a bit more patient than this person is being. And again, this is not a criticism of her. I found the article very interesting because I've not seen anyone else have this perspective in terms of mainstream news and websites that usually report on what's going on in Star Wars. Another criticism I have of her article is the fact that she acts as though Moff Gideon is the only villain of The Mandalorian. That is not true at all. I mean, just look at Chapter 9. Boba Fett potentially will be a bad guy. I know most people want him to redeem himself and all of that, but let's be honest, he might be someone who is out to get Mando. And even as I stated yesterday, Greef Karga potentially will be a bad guy. Carl Weathers, the actor who plays him, even teased that in his interview with the Toronto news station. So we're just going to have to wait and see, but I disagree strongly that just because Moff Gideon was not in Chapter 9, it's going to be a bad season. That's just absolute BS in my opinion. So the reason I brought up this article was not just to critique it. That was part of it, but it's mainly to state that they wasted a huge opportunity to add some speculation to where Moff Gideon is during this time. What is he up to? I can't wait till he gets reintroduced into Season 2. He's probably been up to a lot of things between Season 1 and Season 2, and we're just going to have to find out what that is specifically, but they could have added more substance. She just seems to be very annoyed at the fact that we didn't get Moff Gideon. But hey, everyone's allowed their own opinion, as I always say, and I respect everyone's opinion. I'm just giving my own and critiquing this piece of journalism. So now let's talk about this rumored cameo. So I will preface this by saying a couple of days ago I did a video where I predict what's going to happen in chapter 10 of season 2, which is the next episode. And I talk about how we're probably going to be taken to Mon Cala based on the short summary provided to us for what season 2, episode 2 is going to be about. And I also mentioned the fact that it is the planet of Admiral Ackbar. But this article from Inverse goes into a little more depth than I did, and they're talking about the fact that we could get Admiral Ackbar as well. So the title is, The Mandalorian Season 2 leak means a classic Star Wars alien may return. Baby Yoda is setting sail. One of the best parts of Star Wars, and The Mandalorian in particular, is the wide range of settings these stories can explore, from abandoned planets to bustling cities, but Star Wars has mostly steered away from putting its characters on any sort of seafaring vessel until now. In the Mandalorian season premiere, Din Djarin and Baby Yoda headed to the Western-style ghost town of Mos Pelgo. But according to a leaked plot synopsis, Season 2, Episode 2 could take our heroes to an entirely different type of planet, where they might just encounter an alien who's near and dear to Star Wars fans. So then they ask the question, will The Mandalorian Season 2 reintroduce us to the Mon Calamari? A new leak suggests that exactly could happen, and it might mean the return of Admiral Ackbar himself. The Season 2 trailer featured a shot of Mando on a large boat, which suggests that he could be headed to a water planet. One Redditor also points out in The Mandalorian Season 1, the Mon Calamari also showed up. Mando demanded to be paid in their currency rather than Imperial credits. And in episode 3, Mando picks up a bounty puck displaying a Mon Calamari from Greef Karga. Greef responds, that's the best of the lot. A nobleman's son skipped bail. Looks like you're headed to the ocean dunes of Karnak. Mando didn't end up taking the job, and Karnak hasn't been featured in any Star Wars lore so far, so the planet remains a mystery. However, an ocean-centric planet containing Mon Calamari could very well be the planet where Mando and Baby Yoda are seen on some sort of cargo boat in the trailer. There's also a dubious synopsis floating around the internet that the cargo ship could play a key role in The Mandalorian Season 2, Episode 2. So I mean, all I can say is that this article is very much in line with my predictions for Chapter 10. I do think we are going back to Mon Cala, and that is also where Sasha Banks' character plays in as well. And like I say, I'm not saying that she's Sabine Wren by any stretch at this point. I will say, in my opinion, she's either some unknown Jedi or even an Imperial Inquisitor. But either way, I think we are going back to that planet. I don't know if we're going to see an Admiral Ackbar cameo at this point. That would be something really awesome, but I would not rule it out as well. And now our final news article talks about the Tusken Raiders from Chapter 9. This is from Games Radar, and the title is, The Mandalorian Season 2 actor created a special sign language for the Tusken Raiders. Season 2 of Mando is only one episode in, but there's already so much to talk about, including a brand new sign language invented for the show, Tusken language. In the Season 2 premiere, Din Djarin encounters Tusken Raiders while searching for a Krayt dragon on Tatooine. He communicates with the Sand People using a series of grunts and hand gestures, and it turns out that those gestures are their own language created specially for the show. According to the Daily Moth, the Tusken Sign Language was developed by a deaf actor named Troy Kotzer. The story follows that a hearing person on the Mandalorian team read the script for episode 1 and mentioned that a deaf person should get the role of the Tusken Raider. So this is a quote from Kotzer himself. I did research on the culture and environment of the Tusken Raiders. My goal was to avoid American Sign Language. I made sure it became Tusken Sign Language based on their culture and environment. Fans, especially members of the deaf community, were incredibly excited to see a signed alien language on the Disney Plus series. Obviously, this is an incredibly positive thing and it makes me smile just reading that article. That's really cool that someone took the time to really study Tusken Raider culture and environment and created their own sign language based on what they already knew. So that's awesome, and this is the way, guys. We are not far away from Chapter 10, and when Chapter 10 drops, I will be doing a full breakdown and Easter eggs again. I also do want to apologize because I had a lot of comments saying that I ruined it for some people when I put the Boba Fett helmet in the thumbnail. I will not be doing a spoilers thumbnail this time, and I'm really sorry to everyone who was spoiled by my thumbnail. I do apologize, I really do. So I will leave you with that. I really hope you enjoyed my video, and if you did, please give me a big fat like, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and also please consider checking out my Patreon. The link's in the description down below, and I will see you tomorrow. I'm Star Wars Meg. Have a phenomenal rest of the day, no matter where you dwell in the galaxy. Have a good one.